Good evening, everybody. Yeah, waiting for everyone to come in. My name's Keith Shyam Smith. I'm CEO at Legacy Centre of Excellence, and proud to have Stephanie Taylor from Rent to Rent today, who's going to be joining us. Amazing entrepreneur who's got a really interesting business model in property management. So, without any further ado, how are we looking, Sham?
Yeah, just getting Stephanie to join us.
Fantastic.
Stephanie's with us.
Fantastic. Hi, Stephanie. How are you? Good evening.
It's a work first time.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
I'm
Good evening.
Thank you. It's amazing to be with you.
How's
It's a
it?
work first time.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you? Fantastic.
It's amazing to be with you.
How's your day been?
It's a work first time.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you? Fantastic. How's you? How is Sham?
Yeah, just shit. There we go.
Fantastic.
Perfect. So yeah, I'm really good. I've had a great day, and I'm really looking forward to coming on and joining you tonight.
No, thank you for joining us. For us, it's fantastic. I think you've got a fantastic business model. I really love it. And yeah, if you're comfortable and happy, we'll go straight into our questions. Is that okay?
Absolutely, I'm dying to get over there. Yeah, let's do it.
Please tell us about yourself, Stephanie. How would you describe yourself? What's your background?
Yeah, so nowadays I'm a businesswoman, a property investor, and successful. But that wasn't always the way how it was with me, and so that's why I'm so passionate about explaining to people that your life can change in ways that you never would have perceived.
Mhm.
So when I was 18, I had my son Alex, and I was really lost. Let's put it that way. And I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of confidence. I had a lot of shame. I was on benefits, and I was trying to do the best I could just to put one foot in front of the other and take the very next step in front of me and do something that just made things a little bit better. I could never have imagined that things could be much, much better. And what I've learned over many decades, it took me, but people can learn it in a moment, is that you can create your own success just starting in your own mind.
Yeah.
And I think that seems like it's a very abstract concept, and maybe I'd heard it before, but I never thought that it really applied to me.
Yeah.
So now I've seen it on both sides. I'm the same person, I have the same capabilities, the same potential, but when those thoughts were unlocked in my brain, and it's events like yours that really can inspire people, I really created a lot of success in a short period of time.
Thank you. I mean, I think it's fantastic. And I think sometimes the challenges that we face, they influence us to adapt and evolve our lives and evolve systems and stuff. So sometimes these challenges are to be embraced. When you look back on them, they're things that you look back almost fondly. So how would you say your background has influenced your business and your lifestyle?
Well, let me tell you one of the things. I'll just tell you a little bit about what I do now, and one of the things that really influenced me and really made a big difference. It's originally, I found out that you didn't need a lot of money to go to property, which blew my mind because I thought you did.
Mhm.
And then that you could manage other people's property and make as much money from property as if you owned it. But you're
Yeah.
doing it in an ethical way where it's a good situation for the housemates who live with you. It's a good situation for the landlords who rent their properties to you. So we started managing our property business, HMO Heaven, and it really took off. So that's become an award-winning property management business. But as a result of that, we then started teaching other people how to do it. And that's how we created Rent-to-Rent Success. And as a result of that, both of the businesses, we then started building our own portfolio of properties, owning our own properties. And what our desire there is to create a trust and pass on that accommodation and education trust to help vulnerable people, to house them in lovely homes, and also to give them that education that these are the things that you can do, starting from right where you are, starting from exactly your situation with your challenges. You can move forward if you want to.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that happened to me when I was young is that I struggled to get accommodation. And one of the times, I just remember walking into an estate agent, a letting agent in Birmingham, and she looked up from behind the counter and said, "We haven't got anything for people like you." I know. And it just, she didn't even dress it up in any shape nor form. She didn't even spoke to me. She did not know what I was in there for, what I was looking for, or whatever. She just made her judgment, and that was it. There's nothing for me. So they could have great properties there, but they're not renting them to me. They're choosing not to do that. And so one of the things that I love about what we do now is we get to be the person who's offering the property. We get to be the person who's given the property. We're not the person asking for the property. And I think that so many more of us need to put ourselves in that situation where we are the person offering the property that is open to all of us who want to go down that path. So that we can look after our own, community. We can look after ourselves, look after other people.
Well done, Stephanie. Well done. Well done. I think that, again, turning that adversity and turning that challenge and that disrespect, blatant disrespect, and using that as fuel to develop your business and what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like the next day. I mean, I went out of there, I was wounded because I felt like I deserved that. That is, of course, how I should be treated. I didn't feel like I felt like she was right. So it wasn't like the next day, but that makes it even sweeter that now that we have these homes that we can help people with, and we can choose to offer people the right kind of homes that they need, that sometimes they struggle to get, because this sort of thing, it still happens.
Yeah, we know that there's discrimination it's across the board where we are in the UK anyway, right? But especially in different sectors which we haven't previously explored or been present enough, and property is one of them. So well done, because you're making a difference, and that's to be respected and credited. So well done. So how would you describe your business model at Rent to Rent? What's your model?
Yeah, so basically it's a bit like being a letting agent. So I'll explain how it works, because a lot of people understand buy to let, and they think, okay, I want to get into property, I need 50 grand to buy a property, do it up a little bit, rent it out, and maybe I'm going to make £200 or £300 a month. So that's not really open to most people, because they might have 150 grand, maybe they're not going to have 2, 3, they need to save up. It's a slow process. So what rent to rent is, it means you, instead of buying to rent, buy to let, you're renting to rent. So you can rent the property, and maybe you're paying, I don't know, £1,000 or a few £1,000, and that property is then available to you. So you rent that property usually for 3 to 5 years. You take on paying for the bills, and you pay the owner of the property a guaranteed rent every month. And they're delighted with that, because they don't want any hassle with the property, and they're just going to get their guaranteed rent. And then you can charge a higher yet still affordable rent to the tenants, and all of the money in between is what you make in your business.
Yeah.
So each property that you manage can be like anywhere from between 500 and over £1,000 a month in cash flow, and that soon builds up, because what I love about this as well is that it's great when you think in 1 month blocks, but if it was 500, can I do the maths there? Let's say it's 1,000, make it easy for myself. It's £12,000 in a year and £60,000 every 5 years. That could be from one property, it could be from 2 properties, but usually anywhere between 3 and 5 properties is going to replace the average UK salary. And then your business is going to be, instead of like 40 hours, 40 weeks, 40 years, it's going to be a few hours a month. So it's something that so many people can do, and so many people are doing. And one of the great things that we've been able to do is, because people can see us doing it, is inspire lots more non-traditional, let's say, property investors. So not your typical middle-aged white man, to go into property and to start making it really work for them.
So let me just to ask a question about your model. So are you so you basically someone's renting, you're renting you're basically renting a property, you got a lease maybe 5 years, you've took it at rent A, then you're going to subcontract that out to maybe one person or a number of people?
A number of people, because it's like the house shares.
Yeah.
But the properties that we take on, the way we do it, they're already house shares to start with.
Okay.
The owner of the property has already got it as a house share, and he's got it either with a letting agent or with themselves, and now they're just looking to get a little bit more hands-on.
Okay, so basically, there's already a house share already. You're taking on the responsibility of the property. So essentially, the landlord then can just sit down and just collect their rent, and you take on the active work of managing the property, managing the tenants and the repairs and everything.
Yeah, that's it. And the owner still pays for
Okay.
the majority of repairs.
Okay.
We do some minor repairs, but we will organise everything for them. So it's a bit more of a full service than what they might get with a typical letting agent.
So would you say that that people who want to get into this form of business, like yourself, are you a naturally good administrator? Are you good at you got very good organizational skills, able to manage data and your spreadsheets and everything so you can keep a handle on things? Do you need to be that kind of person, would you say?
I would say you don't need to be that kind of person, but you need to have someone who is.
Yes.
So how we explain it to people to set up, because at the beginning, you've got, say, one property. Let's say at the very beginning, you get your first property, and then we say, have an online project management software, and then you can outsource to a virtual assistant to put all the information for all of your housemates, for all of your one property. It's so easy to do at that stage, and then everything is there in one place. The most important thing with this size of business, because you can replace your salary in 3 to 5 properties, so it's not many properties. It doesn't require a high level of systemization and automation, but we put in the simple systems that make it run like it's on track. So you're not running around like a headless chicken. The frustration comes from when you've got one AST on your email, another one's on WhatsApp, something else is in your kitchen drawer, something else, oh, did they send you a text message? No.
Yeah.
And that's when I say put it all in the same place, property management software. Then you can have the first step to outsourcing is to have a virtual assistant to do all of the things that can be done online, which is quite a lot of stuff. So that's when you're doing viewings and you're arranging viewings and you're doing the onboarding process. So that's how we show people to to outsource first of all through a virtual assistant.
Okay. And how do you source your deals?
Yes, great question. So online and offline, but we have, there's 2 things. There's old school, which is that every council publishes a list of all the HMO landlords, so we can write to them and let them know about what our service is, and some of them come that way. That's a great method because we're going exactly to who we want to speak to, which is specifically HMO, house share. HMO stands for house multiple occupation, so HMO landlords. Then all of the other ways, online, through the online portals. There are lots of portals where landlords are putting their properties online, and so we can go online and reply to them and say, would you be interested in a long-term rental, and so on, and meet landlords that way. And the other one that's really important is just to tell everyone what you do. I really believe in, if people are so shy at first, I can remember it as well myself, to let people know they're doing something new. I'm in property. You might see somebody who's posting on Facebook every day, but you would never ever know that they have anything to do with property.
It's true.
So I say weave in your business life into your personal life. If you're on the social media already, put it out there. Everyone who's in your network should know now that you are now in property. You are the person. If anybody has any problems with their house shares or their property or their lettings business, they should be referring you, and they can't do that because they don't even know that you're doing it.
It's true. It's very true. And where would you say the risks are in your business? Would you say it's like making sure the leases that you've got with the landlords are really tight, or is it the accounting, or is it the management of the actual tenants in the property? Like, where do you see the risks?
Yeah, I think the risks are with any business. Part of the reason why it can be so profitable is because there is risk in the business. So, but there's less risk on us as renters. Let me just explain it. We really talk about ethical practice, and when you sign up to that contract, we are contracting with you for that period of time. However, what I do say to people as well is that business and life in general is all about relationships. So if something happens, that means you no longer can run the property, then it's absolutely fine to go to the landlord, to go to the letting agent and say, I've been running this property since whenever. I would like to end early because of whatever reason on this date, and then pay you up to date and pass the property back. Is that okay with you? And many times you will find that it is okay with them, because a landlord or a letting agent, their nightmare is when you want to stay in their property and not pay rent, but you don't want to move out. That is the nightmare scenario. When somebody is handing your property back, it's an irritation because you've got to find a new tenant, but it's not a nightmare. So that's the first. I bring that up because I know that a lot of people are, what about if I can't pay rent? What about this? What about that? Because people are very keen to see what could go wrong. And so I just want to say that you do not have to maintain and keep in there as long as you make an agreement to be able to hand it back. So that's number one. Number two is, as you said, the contract. Say if they said no, you can't give it back. Number two is that within the contracts that we do, you can have a notice period. So the notice periods that we usually use is 3 months and 6 months.
Okay.
So I think that's the biggest thing that I know that people worry about is, what about if the tenant doesn't pay or the area doesn't work? And so that is the worst case scenario. You can give the property back either by negotiation or because it's in the contract.
Yeah. So I mean, I suggest probably the property lawyer, the person who's doing the paperwork for the contract, property really needs to be their thing. It needs to be something that they specialize in. And if they could put those adequate protections in the contract for you, then, that kind of gives you that cushion, doesn't it?
Well, we actually have started putting together contract packs that people can use for this, because you would not believe it, but people often do not know the lawyers. Of course, actually it makes sense. Why would they understand the fullness of rent to rent? Because they're using a boilerplate template, and then what they're doing is they're adding in all the clauses that you tell them you want in, but you don't know all the clauses that need in. They would need to know all the things that could go wrong in the contract to be able to advise you what clauses, which they don't know. And so we notice that even when they say they understand maybe they understand the concept, but they don't understand the business deep enough to be able to provide the right kind of contract. So that's why we started putting together a contract pack that people can use that we know is solid for rent to rent for HMOs, for house shares, because we saw so many, and solicitors can be expensive and slow, and it turns out not in this particular case because it's quite a niche area.
I mean, one of the things I've learned from being involved in the property business is that some solicitors, if you're dealing with a high kind of level transaction, if it's a quite a large amount, or you're doing something that's quite complex, that your standard solicitor might not be able to manage that type of contract and be able to manage that kind of transaction. It might not be their area of law, or it could be, but it's just so advanced. And what you're doing is quite a really quirky business model. So I know that some solicitors might not really understand the model or feel comfortable with it. So it's good that you've got those legal packs and stuff. And did you get those legal packs looked at by a solicitor before you give them to your clients and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, they were created by solicitors, but over the years they've been evolved. So we've got like coronavirus clause in there, different clauses as different things comes up.
Yeah.
Then we add it in, so that we make sure that everything, we've got the one-way break clause so that we can give it back the property, but they can't pull the property out from under us, the owner, unless we don't meet our obligations.
Obligations.
That's really the only time that somebody wants to get their property back is if we're not meeting our obligations. However, if the landlord did come to us and say, after 3 years, for example, oh, I'm emigrating, or I need to sell, or oh, I'm getting divorced, or whatever, and they need to sell, then obviously we're going to work with them and negotiate. And if we've invested some money in the property, we'll say, well, that's fine, you'll need to repay this much or that much, or we'll withhold the rent for this. We negotiate with them so that it can work for both of us. Because that's the main thing, is that whatever deal you've got, it's only a win because it's a win for everybody. It's a win for everyone. That means we feel really good about the work that we do and also about the money that we make. And everybody else who works with us also feels delighted that they were working with us. So that's how we want to that's how we want to roll. Yeah.
Excellent. And what kind of capital do you think would you say a entrepreneur who's following your business model would need to start up? What kind of capital level do you think they need to come in with?
Yeah. So I think ideally you want to have a few £1,000s to hold you. That can either be your money or somebody else's money.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say that is you need around £600 to do all the parts of setting up your business, insurance, a web page, the ICO, all the different compliance. You don't need them all from day one, but when you certainly need them by the time you get your first property. So that's all about £600. And then you've got your first month's rent. Sometimes you might also have a deposit, so that's 2 months' rent. So I would say a few £1,000s to start off with. However, we have had people who joined it, got all the information, learned about it, signed, gone to meet the people to get deals, and then gone and found funding within friends and family to be able to do it. But it depends on your personality. So for me, I always want to have the money in advance, but some people have also had success with getting the knowledge, taking action, and then securing the funding afterwards from family and friends.
And in terms of profit, so how much do you say you could make profit in, say, your first year of one property if they invested with you?
Yeah. So say it's anywhere from £500 upwards. So let's say a £600. So that would be 7,200 for one property. And usually you would have them for 3 to 5 years. So I would need my calculator there, which my phone is I'm doing this on my phone, so I won't do it. But
21,600.
Sorry.
21,600, is it?
Is that for 3 years?
You said
10,000.
200 a year.
But let's say if you had 2 properties and they were both doing 500, that's quite a low cash flow on both of them. So then it's 12,000 a year. Make it easy for ourselves.
Okay.
50,000 every 5 years. So it's a really lovely business. And for most people, they would just want to keep it at that level, and then they can use that money like we did to then start investing in properties, we started doing commercial conversions. But the strategy that I really love is multi-unit blocks of flats basically, but conversions where you buy a converted block of flats and do it up, because you don't have to do any development work. Everything's already there, and when you increase the value, when you increase the look of the property, you increase its rental amount, and that increases the value. So you really can increase the value a lot. So that's a great strategy for people once they've got the cash flow, either from rent to rent or from another business or from employment or what have you, or investments. Then that's even these properties where they're split into 2 or 3 flats. Great place to start for investment.
I love it. I love the business model. I do. And how do you manage your work-life balance with all of these properties? So how many properties do you have? Are you managing, by the way?
Yeah, so we've got just over 100 tenants, and it's just over 20 properties, because the smallest one is 4 tenants, and the largest one is a block of 12 flats that we own. So that's a mixture of properties that we own and properties that we manage. Because one of the things that's really interesting is it's not just about the volume of properties you've got, it's about how each property works. So some properties were less good, so we returned those ones, and other properties are really good, so we keep those ones. So it's just having the right portfolio that does what we want it to do. And you asked me about the work-life balance, and really it's fine because we have a team who help us in this business.
Okay.
That business is called HMO Heaven. It's our rent-to-rent business where we do property management, and we've got a team in there. Mainly Luke, who's working full-time, who's basically looking after making sure the tenants are happy, liaising with everything, doing all that online property admin that you mentioned. And I'm in that business for half a day a week because I meet with Luke to make sure that everything's going well there, that the rooms are full, any issues. And I also meet with my sister Nikki, who runs a business with me, once a week, and we talk about strategic things within that business. And really, that's what gave us time to be able to do the other business, rent-to-rent success, and also the development business.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic what you're doing. And I'm really happy for your success. And I hope your business continues to thrive. Yeah, really continues to thrive. So on the 27th of May, we're blessed to have you at the Black Business Conference at Legacy Centre of Excellence. And what are you going to share with the people on that day? Are people going to be able to come and meet with you and build a relationship so they can get involved and maybe get involved in the rent-to-rent business? How does it work? Would you be prepared to do one-to-ones with people who are interested, things of that nature?
Yeah, absolutely. And people come there. When I come to your event on the 27th of May, I'm there for people. I'm there for people. I live in Wales, so I'm a bit out in the sticks. So when I come there, I just love to meet and connect with people. So absolutely all for it. Meeting up, answering questions, helping people get started. And we actually grew up in Birmingham. So my mum's there, and so we will be staying over. So that's going to be really lovely. But yeah, really looking forward to sharing the knowledge bombs and going a bit deeper than what we've been able to do today into actually how to get started. And it's not just going to be for people who want to do rent to rent. I think what I'm going to talk about there is also going to be helpful for people who just feel a bit stuck, like I used to do, and just want to take what they've got and really life up.
I'm looking forward to it so much. Trust me. I think you've dropped some real gems today. I hope people have actually been listening to what Stephanie's been saying, because she's been dropping some real gems about how to get into the property management business without having to spend a lot of money at a point, without needing a lot of capital. Last thing before we go, please, Stephanie, if you could speak to your younger self, what would the 3 main areas of advice you would give them? 3 things that you would advise them to do?
Yeah, I love that question, Keith. So my 3 things are: believe bigger, be bolder, be a game changer. Believe bigger is, I just really had my head down. When anybody used to say anything to me, I would agree with them. You know, detrimental, like that lady in the letting agent. So believe bigger, just know that more is possible. Just know that more is possible. Just open your eyes, lift your head up, put yourself around people, come to events like the Black Business Conference, and just know that more is possible. So that's 1, believe bigger. 2 is be bolder, because the next step is when we start to notice that there's more for us, we feel a bit shy to say so, because of course we're going to fail, of course we've never done it before, of course we've been afraid. And also, we're afraid of criticism. So it's really important to be bolder, to actually stand in your truth and move forward in the best way that you can, moving towards what you know is right for you.
Yes.
Because people will criticize you if you do nothing. People will criticize you if you do something. So just make sure that whatever you do, you're moving towards what you know is right for you. And the last one is be a game changer. And really, that is about changing the game in your own life, in your family's life, in your community, in our world. Because as you grow more in your mind, often that's accompanied by more abundance financially, and it means that you get to give more. And so one of the things that we do every day in our business is we're b1g1.com. It's buy one, give one, where you give to charity every time something happens in your business. And that is that's such an amazing feeling, especially for me, because I can still remember when I used to go to the post office and queue up with back in the day, with the dinosaurs and stuff. You used to go to the post office with a book, a printed book, to collect the income support and get a stamp on it, and then collect the cash. There was no electronic transfers, etc.
Yes, true.
I used to do that and feel quite shameful. And but now it feels very joyful to be in a situation where we can give to others and we can be there for people who are looking for homes, like I was, and be there and say, yes, this is your place, rather than, no, we don't have anything for people like you.
Stephanie, how do people get in contact with you?
Yeah, so they can get in touch with me. I'm on Instagram on here, Stephanie T Property. I am on Instagram, and we've also got I've got a free copy of the book for people. It's at rent2rentsuccess.com/legacy, and if you go there, you can get a free copy of the Rent to Rent Success book.
Absolutely fantastic. Stephanie, I think you're amazing. I really do. I think what you've achieved with Rent to Rent is something that people should really look at. I think people need to have a conversation with you. I think there's a lot that people can learn. I think there's people who've picked up a lot of gems just off what you've said in this conversation today. I'm so looking forward to seeing the rest of you talk about your journey and the model and everything on the 27th of May, the Black Business Conference. And honestly, I'm going to be watching your trajectory. And I know in 5 years' time, you're going to be in somewhere out there just doing something just so completely massive. So really proud of you. Glad to have met you virtually. Looking forward to meeting you physically on the 27th. And thank you for your time today. You've been amazing.
Yeah, thanks a million, Keith, for inviting me. Can't wait, as you say, to be at the Black Business Conference. I look forward to seeing any of you there who are coming on the 27th of May. Okay, bye for now.
Well done. Bye-bye.
Thank you.